What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with another review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Hot Toys Mandalorian Super Commando Captain from Ahsoka. Wow, what a mouthful the name of this figure is, but it is a very fitting name for a very cool-looking character. This is marketed as an Ahsoka release. This guy showed up in 1 or 2 shots from the Siege of Mandalore flashback scenes from the 5th episode of the Ahsoka series. This is a design that was originally taken from the 2008 Clone Wars series, namely from Season 5, when Darth Maul takes over Mandalore and Death Watch kind of swears allegiance to him. There is a Mandalorian that has this specific design in the animation, so this is the first time we get to see that look in live action. Recently, I did pick up Darth Maul. Basically everything that I'm getting that has to do with this faction comes from the release of Savaggio Press for Hot Toys. It really sent me down a rabbit hole, a very expensive one at that, but today we're going to be talking about this figure here. So this guy comes in what is the standard packaging for the Star Wars Hot Toys. You have the nice glam shot of the figure itself on the front of the packaging, a chrome Star Wars logo, and a little banner that's actually separate from the lid of the box. You get another promo shot here along with the name of the character. He is TMS127, and then the Hot Toys logo down at the bottom right. That little glam shot does kind of wrap around the corner here, so you're able to see what that looks like. Everything else is pretty barren on the sides, except for, again, you have the little name banner down there, and on this side you get another really cool promo shot of the character. On the back of the box you have all your legalese. This is all really boring, stupid stuff. On the bottom of the box you do have another Star Wars logo, and on the top of the box you have another Star Wars logo. Aside from that, that's pretty much it as far as packaging goes. Now that we've covered that, let's lift off this lid. Something I always absolutely adore with the Star Wars Hot Toys is the inclusion of these little inserts which just give you glam shots of the characters. This one is so well detailed. This one looks really cool. I really need to take some time and get all these framed and hung up on all my Hot Toys because they just look amazing. And removing that from the box, you are now left with your Hot Toy and all of his accessories. This guy looks amazing and I'm really excited to get him kitted out. Alrighty, here is our Hot Toys Mandalorian Super Commando Captain out of the box, and boy howdy, they have done a phenomenal job. This is a brand new Hot Toy. This is the latest that Hot Toys has to offer as far as quality goes for 2024, and they, once again, every single time, they knock it out of the park, and somehow every newer one that I get ends up being so much more superior and premium when I didn't even think that was possible. Starting off just by looking at the helmet, just, again, you're going to notice this all throughout all the armor, the weathering, the grime, and all of the, dips and valleys of the armor, the scratching in the paint where you can see the raw Beskar underneath, the reflective black visor they've got going on. This guy, as usual with Hot Toys, has some amazing detail. These kind of Beskar horns to represent Darth Maul's horns on the top of the helmet, these are something special too. On the back here, strangely enough, he's got a bunch of white. This is really the only place on the figure you're going to see this white, but I think it adds a little bit of pop, some pizzazz to the back of the helmet here. It looks insane. The weathering on every single piece of armor is ridiculous. Taking a look at all of that weathering on that armor, it is just insane. What I'm always impressed by is the back armor. They really go above and beyond with weathering every piece of this guy's armor, even the stuff that you won't see, which usually companies, I give them a pass when they don't weather the stuff that's going to be covered by an accessory, in this case a jetpack, but for this guy it's just perfect. Now when he first came out of the box, I thought the back armor was sitting a little low. Every piece of armor is fastened in by Velcro, so you're able to remove and adjust every single piece of armor that you'd like. You can see here there's some Velcro lines for the back of the belt as well as the back of the tunic for the kind of flight suit that the Mandalorians wear. These can all be removed, and there is a little endoskeleton underneath. Contrary to what some people say, they're not metal on the inside, they're just plastic. But there is just, again, some amazing painted detail as well as the sculpted detail, and the stitch work on this undersuit is insane. It looks awesome. I don't know if there's like a a wash on it or something, or if it's just the shade, the color that they've used, everything looks awesome. Taking a look at the gauntlets here, you got some even more painted detail here, sculpted detail down at the hand plates. These are more plain, but that's pretty typical with the in-universe designs of the Mandalorians. However, I really have to point out how good these gloves look. These are insanely detailed, even for Hot Toys. Very, very well done. These open idle hands that he comes with out of the box. The belt has different layers, so the outer belt itself, this is the part you can take off with the Velcro. You have lots of paint and weathering done on the belt buckle, as well as the cod piece down here. The holster for the blaster pistol is a separate piece that does connect to the belt, so that is all going to be one piece if you wanted to remove that. And it looks like the cod piece is connected to all of that as well. Again, fastened in there by some Velcro. I love these Mandalorians from the Clone Wars because they have these little pieces of armor on the outsides of their thighs as opposed to covering the front of the thigh. I don't know if it reminds me more of Boba Fett from Empire and Return of the Jedi, but I just love those exposed thighs there for that undersuit. It just looks really, really cool. And then down here you have some interesting pieces. I'm not sure how I feel about these little leg covers down here for the shin armor. I'm sure that it's accurate, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And then, of course, you have the knee armor. Both of them do feature the knee rockets. And even the boots down here, these are some insanely detailed boots. Look at the dirt, the grime, the weathering down there. He's even got some nice tread on the bottom of those boots that are also weathered. The bottom of the boots are weathered. That's just the level of detail that Hot Toys goes to with all their products. Very, very nicely done. I should also add that there is a magnet for the strap on the holster. This will help you be able to have that not flying all over the place when you are moving the figure around and posing it. And then just one more look at the back, look at the detail and the weathering on those pouches. These are kind of hard plastic pouches on the back here. And man, oh man, this figure is just amazing. I say it with every single Hot Toy that I open. I've been getting a lot more Hot Toys recently because they've been just releasing nothing but fire, and I really got to give them props again for just the level of detail that they've gone through on this one. Realistically, this is a very basic design. There's not much intricate going on here, but the level of detail, the level of care they take with the weathering and the paint detail, everything looks so real, and I love it. All right, covering the Mandalorian Super Commando Captain's articulation real quick, we do have a double ball jointed neck at the head here. That's going to give you some really nice range. This guy's got the ability to get some serious down here as I poke myself with the extremely sharp head horns here. He can also look really nicely up, especially as a jetpack wielding character. You're going to want things like that. He can tilt the helmet side to side, which looks really nice, and he can obviously look right and left with that. The shoulders do have butterfly joints, which have some amazing range here, as well as a hinge and swivel system. So those do have the ability to get up to just shy of 90 degrees there, and they can technically swivel a full 360 degrees. However, with the flight suit and everything, you're not really going to get that. I've noticed a little drop down feature as well with the shoulders, which is also a great feature to give you a little bit more added range. The biceps do have a swivel, so you can utilize that, and the elbows are done on a double jointed, I believe this is a pinless system. It's going to give you similar range to what you can get with the actual human body, which is very impressive. And down at the wrists, he has a hinge and swivel, so obviously the wrists can swivel, and then they do have a hinge wherever you kind of have the hands swiveled at. He does have a ball joint at the midsection, which has some amazing range. Even with all the layers of armor and flight suit and everything like that, he still can achieve some really good range at that midsection. At the hips, he's got some ball joints, which have some very nice range as well. They do also feature a thigh swivel that is underneath there and is not hindered almost at all by all the armor and the layers. He's got some double jointed knees here, which are going to give you the ability to literally let him almost kick his own ass, which is some awesome range as well. And then the bottom at the boots here, he's got almost like a barbell kind of hinge going on down here. It's going to give you insane amounts of range. The toe point on that is just ridiculous. Looks like he has a broken ankle actually. And then same thing there on the front. He's just got some ridiculous range there. I'm very impressed with the amount of range on this guy. Definitely one of the best that I've had with my own Hot Toys experience so far. So let's start covering his accessories here. So this guy's going to come with a couple extra pair of hands, as most Hot Toys do. For the right hand, you do have a trigger finger weapon holding option. And for the left hand here, you have a looser grip option. This is obviously going to be for him to hold that two-handed blaster rifle, which I will show later, so that you can get him to hold the foregrip of that blaster, and having a looser grip makes that a lot easier. And then the other pair of hands you get for this guy aren't quite closed fist hands, they're just kind of closed a bit more. So you can have an option for this guy to have kind of a closed hand, but maybe if you want to hold something in there like a detonator or something from another figure, that is an option for you, but these could also pass as kind of closed fist hands. Alright, now moving on to some of our other accessories. This guy is a little bit light on the accessories, but considering how minor of a character he is in the Ahsoka series and at all in Star Wars, I really don't care. I'm happy with anything I get here. Obviously, the most essential accessory to this guy is the Westar 45 blaster pistol. This blaster pistol is a standard Mandalorian sidearm. It's done very, very nicely. You've got some nice dark gray sculpt with some silver paint apps. They've even gone as far as to paint the trigger of the blaster here as well as the barrel, and then you also have some black paint application for the grip of the blaster. This is a very nice accessory, and I'm very happy to add one to my collection for this character. And then of course we have this longer blaster rifle. Now this was not the blaster rifle that we saw in the animated Clone Wars series, however, we started to see this blaster rifle show up a lot more with the Mandalorian series and then later with the Ahsoka series. It's a pretty basic blaster, having a black sculpt with just some minimal kind of weathering and paint applications for the gold, almost brass look for the main barrel of the blaster, as well as the kind of hammer and the trigger here. I mean, it looks very nice though. I'm a big fan of this blaster design. It's something different, it's something cool. It's a little bit more reminiscent of Boba Fett in this way, and I'm happy to add this one to the collection as well. What would a Mandalorian be without their jetpack? This jetpack looks awesome. We've probably seen this sculpt a time or two in the Hot Toys line already. However, this one's got some unique paint applications as compared to some of the other ones, especially the Obi-Wan in Mandalorian disguise hot toy, which came out earlier this year. There are plugins for some blast effects, however, this guy unfortunately does not come with those blast effects. Other than that though, it's got some very minimal red, black, and silver paint applications, and it's also got some sculpted detail on the inside, which is a side you won't see if this is mounted on his back. An accessory that I'm really excited about and I'm very happy to add to my collection is the wrist-worn energy shield. This is an accessory I've been wanting to see in this line for a really long time. I love the light spray that they've given to the edges of it to kind of give it that energy effect, as opposed to just leaving it all this translucent blue color. I'm really happy with this accessory, and I can't wait to put this on the figure. Aside from that though, this is pretty much all you get for this guy, aside from, of course, the stand. And for this stand, they've given you a kind of soil background base here, as well as the nice little plaque on the front that says Mandalorian Super Commando Captain. This is done very nice. I love all the grittiness. I love the texture of this base. I am a little sad though, because it is not going to match my other Hot Toys that this is going to be going up with, that have the kind of Imperial Cruiser Venator style flooring there. But I'm sure that I have an extra one of those that I can put on for this guy to match the rest of my dudes on the shelf. But this still is a very nice, very sturdy, it's got some nice weight to it, and it looks really, really nice. And then of course you have to have the crotch grabber as well, which this crotch grabber is actually a different shape as well. It's got some adjustable little rods here which do pull out completely. Very easy to slip back into the stand if need be. Basically what you're going to do is just stick this into the base, and once it's in the base it's nice and secure. It's not going to get itself out very easily, and you can use this to pose the figure. However, we're going to set that off to the side while we get this guy into some cool action poses with these accessories. So this is really interesting. So you really have to cram this blaster pistol down into this holster here, and I'm still having issues even then getting the strap to connect over the handle of the blaster with the magnet on the holster. It is doable, however, you're really putting some strain on the leather work, the faux leather of that holster, and just one little bump is gonna get rid of that, you know, tense grip there between the two ends of the magnets. However, it can be done, and it's gonna look really nice when it's in there. Just be wary of how difficult it may be. When attaching an accessory to your Hot Toy, I always recommend removing the hand first before attaching the accessory to the hand. That way you can just attach the accessory in hand to the figure. It's just a lot more stress-free of a process, and it's going to be a lot less aggravating for you as the consumer. On the topic of the wrists, let's talk about something else that they add in the Hot Toys that I really do appreciate. It is extra wrist pegs. With swapping the hands, accidents can happen, shelf dives happen as well, and that can result in the wrist pegs snapping. So they do give you an extra set just in case you snap them. I love that Hot Toys keeps the consumer in mind when they do things like this. Let's also attach the jetpack onto the figure while we're doing this. As you can see, this attaches with a magnet. It's a pretty strong magnet. Obviously, if you're bumping it around, it might fall or things like that, but it's a pretty good secure connection, and on the back of the figure, it looks really nice. It's not too back heavy as well. He's able to stand up straight just fine without use of the stand with the jetpack attached. The blaster in hand looks really, really nice. He's able to shoulder it, which is awesome. I love the amount of range you can get out of those elbows, and you can get a nice kind of faux grip on the front of the blaster as well. It's a very nicely sized weapon, doesn't look too big or too small for the character, and I think that it looks just great on the figure. Now, giving him the energy shield, it's very easy to do. There's this little panel on the front of the gauntlet towards the wrist here on that left arm. This does pop out. The best way to get it to pop out is just by pushing the gauntlet up towards the elbow, and then you have some matching wrist pegs here on the energy shield, which will allow it to attach very, very easily, and then that'll be fastened to the gauntlet. Obviously, it's probably going to fall off if you are giving it trouble and kind of wiggling it around, because this, I will admit, does fall out very, very easily. So just be wary of it, but again, I'd recommend just posing it up and then attaching the shield. That's probably the best way to go about it. And here he is with that accessory in hand. This looks really, really cool. I'm absolutely loving this accessory. I wish all the Mandalorians came with this, but I'd probably end up posing them all with it, to be fair. And here's our Super Commando Captain in a gorgeous one-legged running pose. He's getting ready to maybe take off, run into battle, maybe exit the battle. He's looking absolutely amazing. I'm in love with this figure. He's going to be such a great addition to the collection. For some quick comparisons, here is our Mandalorian Super Commando Captain next to the Obi-Wan Kenobi Mandalorian disguise figure. And man, these guys look amazing side by side. The Mandalorian Super Commando Captain does have a little bit more of a muted red to his armor, but honestly, it makes them pop so much more together. The grays are right on top of each other. These guys look awesome together. And of course, who would they be without their leader, Lord Maul? These guys as a faction look awesome. I can't wait to add Savage and any other members of this faction that come into this line. I will be buying up immediately. And with that, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this review. This is absolutely a Hot Toys I recommend getting your hands on. Articulation is spectacular, even for Hot Toys scale. This guy's got some amazing detail. I think he's a great entry-level Hot Toy for any collector. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check out my social media, all of which is linked in the description below. That's going to be all for this review, guys. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.